Hello and welcome back to the Mid Am Podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Tyler Munns, and on the other side of the screen from me is my good friend Nathan Furumasu.
Hello.
And tonight we're going to be talking about training aids. We are right in the thralls of the off season, and so what a better opportunity than now to talk about the things that we're going to be using to try to get better. But before we jump into that, I wanted to shout out the fine folks at Adele. Oh my God. No, and the reason, no, that's good. I'm glad that was really loud because the fine folks at Adele who've graciously sponsored our podcast. Both of us play their wedges. Both of us play their irons. Nathan is playing their putter, the Array B1.
B1.
And right now they're doing some awesome kind of like very early Black Friday deals. They've got the SMS wedges at $139. Oh my God, what a freaking deal. I'm actually going to order some myself because I'm thinking about going like 52, 58, which will allow me to go from like a 4-iron to a 3-iron utility and then into like a 5-wood. I'm thinking about it. So, well, I'm definitely going to do it. I'm going to order the wedges, and then I'm thinking about mixing up the
Which
set.
one you're going to use today?
Remains to be seen. But then they also have their EAS putter, which is the putter series prior to the Array series. Very cool looking putters. Probably going to order one of those too. Those are on mega sale as well. $150 off on those. Those are all $299 right now, with a ton of customization options there. So be sure to check out all of their deals that they've got going on. As we come into this gift giving season. Give a gift of incredible golf equipment to a loved one or yourself by visiting adelgolf.com. That's EDELGOLF.com, and we will leave a link in the show notes. So thank you again, Adele.
Treat
All right,
yourself.
Nathan. We're talking training aids. So we both kind of picked a handful of training aids that we have used, plan to use in the off season. And so I've got 5. We've got a few collectively that we're both we know we're both using, and then Nathan's got 5. So
I have
we'll
3.
kind of just talk about those. And why we think they're cool. And it's not necessarily an endorsement. I will say we're going to throw some links in there. We do have some affiliate links. So if you purchase through those links, like get a little bit of a kickback. But we will say, and we hope that we've gained your trust, and that we're not saying these are awesome because we have affiliate links. We have affiliate links because they're awesome and we like them and we use them and we've purchased them ourselves. And for the most part, some of them we haven't, but we'll be very open and honest about that. All right.
All the ones I'm talking about, I spent my own money on, and I'm not a cool influencer. So I definitely know affiliate links from my end. So you can trust me. Tyler's a question mark, but
that's true. Good point. Yeah. I'm a little sus, always a little sus. But actually, here we go. Here's one to establish some credibility right off the top. Okay, cool. So, Tour Tempo. Zero affiliation with those guys from a monetary standpoint, but I know we both are huge advocates of Tour Tempo. It's not necessarily like a physical training aid, but it is an app. It is the best $25 that you can spend. If you are trying to get better at golf, Tour Tempo is like, it's it, man. It is it's so good. Full swing, short swing, or short game, putting. Like, I use it every single day. I've been on a putting kick, chipping kick. I've hit like 1,000 putts in the last 3 days in my like in my office, in my living room, on the practice green, and like probably 50% of those putts have been with like Tour Tempo chimes in my ear. Just trying to really groove like a good tempo so that like my transition is good. I'm way less likely to kind of like jerk the putter face around, opening and closing it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, like I've boasted the the wonders of tour tempo. If you follow me on social media, um, like I said, like I tell anyone, like number one training aid that you can buy, tour tempo. Um, get nothing from that. Just like do it, find it on the app store, download it. It is well worth the money, like 10 times over.
Yeah. I think you'll find a theme that arises between Tyler and I and all of the training aids that we like. Um, One, they're not like, they tend to not be super gimmicky ones. And they all are going to probably have ties into sequence because
Mhm.
sequence is king. Um, and tour tempo is definitely a wonderful way to get a sense of, rhythm and like how long the backswing should feel in relation to the downswing. And yeah, I like what you brought up about like the short game tones. I feel like they kind of get overlooked. And honestly, like I feel like for someone out there who struggles with putting, um, the short game tones could be like a big aha moment for you because I feel like
Yes. Yes.
um, the backswing to impact is in the proper ratio, like the 2-to-1 ratio, happens much faster than probably most people expect. And I know that like one of the common issues with putting is people taking it back too slow and then trying to quote unquote accelerate through the putt, which you shouldn't. I don't think you
Bad.
should do. And that was old conventional teaching, and most people have taught away from that now. So the Tour Tempo app with the tones really is going to get you a really good sense of like, oh, I got to take this back like pretty quickly and put all the energy into that backstroke, so then it can be smooth down on the way through to impact. And I think that's a really big eye-opening thing. That's something I noticed about it right away.
Hmm.
So definitely an endorsement there.
Yeah. It's it's very good. Like the reason I like it is that there's just so much evidence. The best players in the world, like it's not like a specific teaching system. It's not like, and not to like throw shade at Joe Mayo, right? But like it's not this like hyper specific method of doing anything. It's like, hey, we just happen to measure like the best swings in the world, and they all have this thing in common,
Yeah.
more or less, right? And it's like, oh, okay, that's not like I'm not teaching you what positions to get into. I'm not teaching you like what angle of attack you should come in at, or what have
Hey
you.
man, it's
It's
all
like
about VSP, spin loft. Watch
steep is
YouTube,
shallow,
guys.
dude. Parker McLaughlin can eat it. No, yeah, that's a topic for another time. But like, it's truly just like, hey, man, these are what all the best players in the world are doing, and really high level players are doing. Like, maybe you should try to emulate that as well. And it has nothing. And all it is like here, like checkpoints: start, transition, impact. Are
Yeah,
you in the right like um
rhythm.
ratio, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if you have a slower swing, like they've got a solution for that. If you've got a Wyndham Clark swing, like you've got a solution for that. So it's very applicable to anyone's game, and it's just the best. Yeah, I mean, we've said it. I don't need to try to sell it any more than I already have. But tour tempo. Okay,
Yeah.
next one. And these are in no particular order other than tour tempo. Tour tempo, clear number one. The next one, just because I have a speed day coming up tomorrow, and this is one I didn't buy. Actually, Nathan bought it, and I'm borrowing it.
That's right.
Is the Mach 3 Jet Stick and Speed Bomber. So I have committed to not hitting any practice shots over 30 yards until the end of January. It was January
Whoa,
1st, but
stretched
I'm
out.
extending it. Yes, end of January. And I think like practice though, I'm like, I'm gonna play, right? But like
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna hit any practice shots over 30 yards. Apart from maybe three instances where I owe a certain company some content stuff. But other than that, like I'm not gonna be anyway. So like if you've listened to anything that the Mach 3 speed training guys have talked about, they say that like, hey, like doing this speed work actually improves the mechanics of your full swing because A lot of it's sequence based, a lot of it is speed out front, and all of that kind of boils down to your body's going to move the most efficient way to deliver speed out front. And then really all it is just a matter of like training your brain to square up the club face at the right time. And if you look at that on camera, like it's a good looking swing. Like you're gonna be de-lofting iron shots. Like just all your speed is out front. You're not dumping angles prior to impact, which is something that I deal with. And so part of my goal to gain 5 miles an hour, on my cruising speed with the driver from 106 to 111, I'm doing this kind of like these 2 6-week blocks. Right now I'm in the middle. I'm in like the first week of block A, which is heavy lifting in the gym 3 times a week, and then doing the Mach 3 jet stick and the speed bomber. Love
Yeah.
the jet stick, hate the speed bomber.
The speed bomber is
'Cause
heavy lifting, all right.
oh my gosh, dude, it's so hard.
Yeah.
Jet stick makes me feel like I can swing fast though, so that's nice. I might need to do the speed bomber first and then the jet stick second, just so I like leave the session on a high note. Although I know you're supposed to do your like most like high speed, most like explosive stuff in the beginning of a workout, so you're like not as tired, but whatever. But I'm thinking like, A, it's going to obviously increase my speed, but I do think it'll kind of help with some of my mechanics. Like I've been trying to reduce my flippiness and all that stuff. It's an experiment. We're going to see. So
Yeah.
6 weeks of doing this. And then that actually kind of segues into the next 6 week blocks, block B of my speed stuff, which is going to be like more explosive style workouts, like jump training, med ball throws, just like more kind of isometric rather than like really heavy lifting stuff. And then I'm going to be doing a ripstick protocol for 6 weeks. So
Sure.
I'm going to be using their speed stick system, which is, just basically like overspeed and overload training kind of mixed all into one. They have a cool app. And this is one that I do have a partnership with them. So I will leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. They've got the ripstick. They also have the butter blade, which is pretty fun. A little teeny tiny blade. Really good confidence builder if you're like, I've
Mm.
been using it in warm up and I actually like it quite a bit because it's like, man, if I can kind of flush this thing a few times, like then your regular golf club looks like a freaking shovel. It's kind of nice. But yeah, I'll be doing the ripstick just to see if I can, just kind of going through that. It's essentially like a nervous system reset. It's teaching your body what's fast, like reteaching your body what's fast. Like, we all have
Yeah.
this understanding of like what our 100% is. And then speed stick systems like ripstick. And hey, I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke. Like I'm not going to tell you like ripstick's the best system. It's like, no, they're stacked, super speed. Like all of them work essentially the same way. Just pick your poison. I
Yeah.
like ripstick because it's one stick. And the mechanism for changing out the weights is a lot quicker than all the other. Like, so the one of the speed systems is 3 sticks, which I don't like. And then the other one is 1 stick, but like the weight
Weights and
changing
stuff.
mechanism is just a little
Yeah.
more cumbersome. So, that's why I like ripstick, and they also pay
Fair
me.
enough. Yeah. Back to sequence stuff driving mechanical improvement. I mean, go to any golf biomechanist and ask them if swinging something heavy makes you hit better positions, quote unquote. Like that, without fail, it does.
I
So
mean, and you can
something like
honestly go
get a
challenge this
kettlebell
yourself.
or
Go get a no, go get a sledgehammer
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
and try to swing that thing into a tire, and
yeah.
just film yourself
You look great.
swing it into a tire like the tire's a golf ball. Film yourself and look at that thing in slow motion and tell me that's not one of the best looking swings you've ever made.
Yeah, absolutely. So the speed bomber with from Mach Speed is pretty cool with that because it's a big heavy rod, and it's got a little bit of like flex and wobble to it to make it even more kind of unwieldy.
Yeah, it's
But it
very hard.
really, yeah,
It's
it's super hard.
it is really. I've done it once. I'm going to do it again tomorrow. I'm just like, God, that was so much harder than I thought it was going to be. Um, yeah, so I'm excited to see what that like. Unfortunately, I am kind of introducing a lot of variables in like working out, and the speed, the Mach 3 speed stuff and the ripstick. So it's like it's gonna be tough to like nail down exactly what happened or like what was the leading contributor. But I don't really give a shit because
I
if
don't.
I come out swinging at 113 miles an hour on the course next year, I'm just gonna tell you I'm that guy. I'm him, and it was all
Yeah.
me.
I mean, I don't think there is one. There's no magic bullet.
No, there's
Little
definitely
bit of everything.
yeah. The another one. So that's kind
Next.
of full swing stuff, right? Tour tempo, it bridges, it's everything. But the Mach 3 speed stuff and the ripstick stuff, that's all full swing. Um, Jumping into the short game, which is where I'm like grinding, really focusing a ton of my time and energy, and where I'll actually see like shots start and finish is in the short game. So one of them, just from like a connectedness standpoint, is the Smart Ball from Tour Striker, Martin Chuck. Not affiliated with them at all, but I've had a Smart Ball for a long time. I think it's a great training aid. I really like it a lot. Just kind of keeps everything connected. And when you're talking about ball speeds as slow as they are when it comes to like chips and putts, like being connected removes a lot of variables. And that's good. That's a good thing. So I will be I use the smart ball quite a bit. Um,
Mhm.
and then also I'll kind of like slash pro center. They have the cradle for the hand thing, which is cool.
Oh, sure.
But
Yeah.
I actually, for the most part, remove that hand cradle thing, and I just use the wrist strap and that little blue ball,
Mm.
and it just kind of like it you again,
Just
guys,
keeps you
watch this on
together.
YouTube so you can see this right now. But it kind of like forces you to press your forearms together a little bit and keep that connection, and I just that's a good feeling that I need to work on, and I think anyone who's like yeah, I mean, just trying to be connected, like those are two good tools. So, Smart Ball, Pro Sender, one or the other, doesn't really matter. The Smart Ball is significantly less expensive than the Pro Sender. So, if really all you're looking for is like just trying to be more connected, I know you can use it on full swings as well. It's not something I've worked a ton on, but short game stuff, putting, surely, Smart Ball is
Sure.
great. And he just added like this harness system so that you can like Velcro the smart ball to different parts of your body. Um,
It
he's
just
got a whole video on it. It makes
it's
sense when
just a bodysuit that's
it's
just
just,
all
yeah,
Velcro, and then
yeah.
you know
And then you
those
just jump
those
into a wall.
those discs that were Velcro, and you toss the tennis ball back and forth as a kid. It's just that, but
Yeah.
you stick it
And you
all
just
over
put a
your
smart
body.
ball all over
Yeah,
yourself. You become a good
yeah.
golfer.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
I anything where you're putting a ball between your arms and being more connected, as you say, I think is a really good short game endeavor because it's if with the short game, especially if you want to hit like a little softy, like by doing that, you remove your wrist hinge and kind of your elbow hinge, which are two like big speed generators. And
Yes.
so around the greens, you remove those
Yeah.
and it's all down to like body turn pivot. You're really connected, pretty shallow angle of attack. You're in and out of the turf. Like it's really
So
good
much
for
more consistent.
a lot of yes. I mean, you have to vary it up depending on the lie or on the greens, but if you really struggle and need like a baseline, like here's a stock chip motion, super good, comes out super soft,
Mhm.
to get that feel of kind of removing those hinges. So definitely a worthwhile endeavor if that's what you're struggling with.
Yeah. Last one for me individually is the Putt Stick Pro. Another one that I have zero affiliation with, but it's on golftrainingaids.com. I have challenged myself every single day to hit it's basically a yardstick, the yardstick drill. You roll the
Yeah,
putt down a yardstick.
yeah,
This one though is about 50% of the width of a yardstick, so it is very skinny.
mm,
And it's got some other features that I don't really care. I don't, I don't bother with. But it's essentially a very skinny yardstick. Has a nice little dimple on and a mirror. It's got a
yeah.
mirror on, so you can see your eyes over the ball, and then it's got a little dimple that the ball sits in. And anyway, I've challenged myself 100 putts a day on that thing. I'm day 3 into it. And today, like 3 days into it, I'm like, damn, I'm getting pretty good at this. Like, I can pretty much roll this thing like right down the center. I've been messing around too with where I like set up score, like, set up uh, blade putter face middle of the ball and then try to hit it off the toe and roll it perfectly down the stick and then hit it off and then maybe hit one off the heel, and then just go back to hitting the center of the face. And I just have a really great awareness of the face, which is really cool. And so I've, you could go find a yardstick and do the same exact thing. I like the Putt Stick Pro because of how thin it is, and it's harder. It's harder to keep it on there. And it's longer too. It's actually like four. It's not 3 feet. It is 4 feet. So it's a little longer, which is nice. It's got the mirror, which I also really like as a check for the eyes. So that's why I use it. I bought it a while ago, like a year ago, year and a half
Yeah.
ago, probably. And it's going to get a freaking workout over the next 4 or 5 months.
Sweet.
Um,
Yeah,
so
I think I would stand by this statement that the only two putting training aids that you need are a mirror and some kind of start line thing, whether it's that Yardstick Pro or like those little gates or one of
chalk
those,
line, strings,
something.
something.
If you can set up the same every time and roll it on your intended line, that's all you need.
Yeah,
Just learn,
that's
then
those are
go
the
learn to
two
read
hard
greens.
skills,
Yeah,
and then everything else is just like, hey, can you read the green? Hey, can you judge the distance? And that's pretty
yeah.
much it. That's putting. Um, so that okay, so that's those are my five. That's it for 5/6. Um, quickly recap: Tour Tempo, Mach 3 Speed, Jet Stick, and Speed Bomber. The Rip Stick, Smart Ball / Pro Sender, and then the Putt Stick Pro. Those are the five that I'll be using myself. There are a few though that both of us
Mhm.
will be using quite a bit. First one is the Rapsodo MLM2 Pro, which leads us into
Yep.
another quick ad read. Rapsodo has graciously agreed to sponsor the show. So they sent us both MLM2 Pro mobile launch monitors, and we've talked about it a little bit last couple of weeks. But man, so fun,
Mhm.
incredibly, uh, like obviously the data is great if you're into that. Helps, especially on like if you're really trying to dial in wedges. That's where I think it's like the most valuable. If you're trying to dial in wedges and you're like, all right, I want to hit it out of this window and I want to carry this distance, and I want a 9 o'clock swing, 9 o'clock feel swing to carry this distance with this wedge. Like you can like basically sparse out that entire wedge grid, in the comfort of your garage or your carport or wherever, your back deck, into a net. And it's incredibly accurate for how low of a cost it is. There's a ton of other stuff too. There's the simulator aspect of it, over 30,000 courses. And they just recently introduced a new firmware update that, like, I
Mhm.
don't know if you've seen anything, but like the
Yeah, it's
the
amazing.
graphics updates,
Way
unbelievable.
way
Like
better.
it's so good. It's wild to me, the before and after. I never thought it was that big of a deal, that it was a little bit kind of old, a little underwhelming from a graphic standpoint on the simulation, because it's like whatever, who cares? But hey,
Yeah.
they went in, they went out, they improved the product. Um, just from a enjoyment standpoint, it's cool, man. It's cool to see like that level of like care that they've put into the product. The combine mode is so sick. Like being able to use, calling back to the Ripsic thing, like being able to use that as the radar for a speed stick system. Another really cool thing. They've got multiple uh, range modes, like just such a cool system that they've got all rolled into one, all for a really, really fantastic price. So if you're in the market for something yourself, or if you're looking for that big gift under the tree, this holiday season, highly recommend checking out the MLM2 Pro from Rapsodo. But they've also got these less expensive,
Mhm.
just standard MLM, the mobile launch monitor, um, super mobile, easy to set up, right with your phone. Fantastic. And they're going to be coming out with a $50 off, which is a screaming deal here soon. So be on the lookout for that. We'll both be posting about it when that goes live.
Yep.
But yeah, perfect gift for either yourself or the avid golfer in your life. So thank
Yeah,
you, Rapsodo, for for sponsoring the show.
definitely. Yeah, and if you're like a mid-amer like us who has a family and maybe kids who are your like trying to get into the game of golf or just like want to keep it fun for them. Like I took the Rapsodo out to the driving range the other day and I had my daughter with me and I set it up behind her and she sucks, you know. I've never taught her anything. I just kind of say, "Here's a club, swing hard, have fun."
She sucks.
Um she sucks.
Trash,
But
dude.
but you know, and usually she loses interest after I don't know, like 10, 15 balls and she's like, "Cool, can
As
you
kids
buy me
do.
can you buy me a candy bar?" I was like, and so I this time I set up the Rapsodo behind her and I showed her. I was like, "Look at this! It's going to track and show you where it went." Man, she had a blast. You know, it obviously there was some some swings where it didn't pick up the ball because it, you know, didn't go anywhere, or you know, was too
Yeah.
short of a miss hit. But there were a few that she clipped pretty good, and she got such a kick out of it. And I think that's a great way to like add that element into, you know, like if you're trying to get your kids to spend, if you want to spend time with your kids and kind of get them into golf and have fun and make it entertaining, like making it a video game is pretty good.
Well, it makes
Pretty,
sense. Like
yeah,
a lot of kids right now, or young people in general, it's like, hey, what's your first exposure to golf? It's like, well, you see it on TV. Well, you got Pro Tracer on TV,
yep,
or Top Golf. You got your little
yep,
Pro Tracer thing on Top Golf. It's like,
yeah,
hey, we can recreate that at home, and it's a great practice tool, and it's got simulations applications as well. It's like it's such a fun thing. So yeah, Rapsodo,
yeah.
we will both be using quite a bit. I guess maybe not me as much, just because of you know what? No, that's true.
30
Not
yards,
true.
30
I will be
yards.
using. Yeah, I don't know about that, but I
Speed
will be using
training.
it a ton for speed training. So that'll
Yeah,
be great.
yeah.
Um, the next one, Orange Whip.
Orange whip.
Yeah. So you've got the wedge.
I have it with me.
Look at that.
Here it is. Look at this. Watch the YouTube, people.
Watch us on YouTube, folks. Oh,
The
that looks nice.
Stan Utley partnered with them, designed this. I guess it's a wedge, so it's not like there's a ton of design that went into it. But um, as far as you know, geez Louise, I keep whacking it on the ceiling. Um, nice little wedge. I mean, it's just kind of a simple, straightforward wedge, but it's on the classic orange whip shaft
Very
and
bendy
has
shaft.
the counterbalanced weight at the end of it. Um,
Heavy.
I really enjoy using it. Yeah, it's heavy. Um, so I like that. I enjoy using it as kind of a warm up. It really gets a great sensation of like getting the club head swinging, you know, out and around you, and really
Yeah.
you have to release it. If you try and hang on to this at all, you will miss the ball, or you'll slam it into the ground a foot behind the ball. So you really have to be pretty relaxed. You have to be really getting that club
Connected.
head out and moving it connected. Hey,
Yeah, there
um,
we go.
um, you have to do a lot of things correctly to even make contact with this. So it's kind of a nice like here's a nice like calibration or a nice check
Yeah.
in to use before a round, and it's just another club in the bag kind of thing. So as far as like, oh, do I want to take this, you know, golfing with me? It's easy to whip it out at the range,
Yep.
hit 4 or 5 balls before you really start hitting. Kind of helps you get warmed up, get loose because it's an orange whip. It's heavy, it's bendy. Loosens you up, but then also kind of starts to dial in your release pattern like from the
Yeah. Low
start.
point. Your timing
Yeah.
is it's like yeah. It's a great like calibrator is such a good term for
Yeah.
that kind of club. Something similar. I just have the standard orange whip. I use it as a warm up tool for my speed sessions. I use it for a warm up tool when I go play. It is especially nice if I'm trunk slamming and I don't have time to hit any balls. Like it's such a quick way to calibrate the correct tempo. Like if you don't swing it in the right sequence, like you know it immediately because of the weight of it and the flex of it. So if you know if it feels smooth to swing, it means your sequence is probably pretty solid. And like I mean, went out to Tristing last Tuesday. Um, was not expecting 45 minutes extra traffic. Basically, got to the course up on the first tee. Not how I wanted to start the round. And I ended up shooting 75. You know, like just, and I would say like I uh the swing wasn't the pro, like, you know, like I
Oh yeah.
attribute me being comfortable and hitting some really good shots right out of the gate because of the orange whip. So super, yeah, the orange whip is just a solid tool, and the wedge I think is something that will surprise a lot of people as being super, like, I think we all have these kind of you know, wedge, you're supposed to hit down on it, you're supposed to try to launch as low as possible. It's like that is true, but when you're, especially when you're talking about touch shots, like that is not
Hmm.
really true. Like you want to be a little bit more neutral. You want to stand the shaft up a little more. And if you try to hands forward, you know, dig in, hold on with a wedge, with the orange whip wedge, like you're not going to
It's
hit
not
the
going to
ball.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to
Yeah.
hit the ball.
I used to have a personal rule, which I've since abandoned, but not for any good reasons, but that I wouldn't buy a trading aid unless it had been around for like a long time.
Yeah,
Um, because I think, obviously, like, things that have staying power probably actually are helpful. Orange Whip has been around for a while. Like,
long
they're
time.
not
Yeah,
hot, new, but that it's because they work and because they're great. And they have other products that are newer, but, like, the main technology to it is, and kind of the basis that they, develop products out of, looking for, like, loosening up people, sequencing, release, and things like that. Like, they're all good things, and they're not gonna go out of style. So, yeah,
yeah.
they're great.
Yeah, so check them out. We'll throw them in the show notes. And then the last one was both gonna be using pressure boards, but we're going to use that as a segue into Nathan's list of his own because he's got a specific pressure board that he's been using that he's been really vibing with. So take it away.
Yeah, man. Um, okay, so I recently picked up the Y Golf. They had some sort of package. I can't remember what it was, but it was like the discs with the
The
alignment
line,
sticks that
the rods.
holds them at different angles, much like the golf box, but a little bit more variability with kind of how you can set it up. And
Because there's
then
like two different platforms, aren't there?
there's
So you
two
can,
plates, and they
yeah,
each go from a range of degrees of, I guess, loft, if you want to talk about it like that, but like the angle has a range on each one, and then they also had a pressure plate along with that. So I really like this. The pressure plates are, I've made one before. They're not a complex and like mm, proprietary thing. Like, if you want to be cheap, buy a piece of plywood and stick a thin rip of it, on the bottom. Fine, it'll
sure.
work. Um, so, I'm not saying that, oh, you got to go out and buy a pressure plate, but having a pressure plate is huge. I think.
Hmm.
I'm, again, like with the tones, or with, with Orange Whip, or with another one of mine that I'll talk about in a second. We always come back to sequence, and pressure plates are really helpful in teaching people, like, oh, showing you, like, whoa, I gotta get, this is what it feels like to get pressure left, or,
Yeah.
or forward, I should say,
How
because there are
quickly,
weird people who play this game facing the other direction. So get
Kyle.
pressure forward. So, Kyle, sooner, or earlier in the downswing. And even if you're trying to really maximize distance, learning to get pressure off the ball from address, and
Yeah.
then recenter back forward. That's all huge, and you got to be able to do that at the right time in the swing, and it has to kind of lead the motion, And if you want to know more about that, listen to our episodes where we talk with Drew Cooper, or just go follow him and read everything he posts. But they're 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 a wonderful thing. I'm using it. mostly in an effort to kind of coincide with my little bit of informal speed training that I'm doing, where I'm just taking my driver and swinging as hard as I can, as fast as I can, and seeing if I can't increase speed that way. Um, and so I kind of warm up the body, do a little bit of jump rope or something, and then get on the pressure plate and I do some swings on that. And then I get down and get, and then just kind of do my swings and
Mhm.
track and see how fast I can get going. So that's a really good tool. The discs with the alignment rods are really good for a lot of different things, but essentially all of them fall under what I would say is a category of like setting up practice stations.
Yeah.
So if you have this is probably good for if you're trying to make swing changes or if you're trying to work on um, technical things, but without doing it technically. And that's what I think practice stations are great for because it's like all external cueing. It's like the Tommy Fleet.
Avoidance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the Tommy Fleetwood yoga block, or it's or how a bunch of pros use alignment aids anyway, or alignment sticks anyway. Or it's not quite to the extent of like a Mike Bender where you look like you went to
Ball.
some kid you went to some kid's playground and are trying to swing a golf club in and amidst the play structure. But but essentially, I mean, you place these external constraints on you and it's like move within this system and figure it out. Um, I mean, it's no secret, on here that I really struggle getting into out, um, dumping it inside, getting stuck behind. Nice. Um, and so I set it up to, you know, where I need to take it kind of outside the stick that's on my trail side and under the stick that's on my lead side. And it kind of would quote unquote promote sort of an over the top move. But actually, that just puts me really neutral.
Right.
So I'm just trying to groove that as much as I can. You could change the angle for whatever club you're working with, which is great. So if you're working wedges or working driver, like it should be, is probably kind of a different angle at setup. So you can change
Yeah.
that with those. Super easy, super convenient, pretty pretty simple, which is another I think aspect of a wonderful training aid. And you could use obviously like you could do them in conjunction with each other, the alignment discs and the pressure plate.
Overplate.
I've done
Yeah.
some of that too. But yeah, like I've had it for only like a week or so, not even that probably. But I've been on it every day, and it's just cool. I like to treat training aids like calibration things. Like
Yeah.
I don't want this training aid to like necessarily teach me something. I want it to kind of like bring me back to what I know already, sort of thing, or kind of give me the feel for what I know is correct, right? Um, so I think practice stations and like that are really good. Now, obviously, I'm not. I think I mentioned earlier, like I'm not affiliated with any of these brands. These are just ones that I like, but they're also not things that you necessarily need to purchase. I mean, you can go out to Home Depot if you want and get some fiberglass sticks and shove them in the ground, and you can get, like I said, some plywood and make your own sequencing board. But it sometimes is nice to have the professionally made thing. And I wanted it, so I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time value money,
Yep.
opportunity cost and whatnot. Econ 101. Yeah, no, it's, yeah, it's, you said it best. So nothing to add there.
Cool. Moving on, then let's see. Here's another good one. Another thing I would toss into the category of a calibrator, something called the Gem. This is probably a lesser known one. I think I ran across it from Be Better Golf or
Brennan.
something.
Yeah.
Brennan, yeah, Be Better Golf. It's made over in Scotland. I've got it here again. Um, it's actually a series of these. It's not just this one, but it's a weight that you attach to your grip of your club. Um, like so, where the like if you hold your club in the toe up position and then you screw this weight on to basically kind of the lowest portion of the grip, and what it does is it like if you're just swinging like waist high to waist high, so what P whatever you want
3
to
to
say, six to nine, six
yeah,
to
6
nine,
to 9.
basically. Yeah, three if you're counting on the way back, or six on the way down to, um, or if you're Dr. Kwan biomechanics person, it'd be the functional swing plane,
Yeah.
basically waist high to waist high. It forces you to release the club in proper combination, I would say, or well, rather, a proper combination of all of these motions that we know that happen, which is like flexion, extension, supination, ulnar deviation, radial, all these all these different motions of and planes of motion of the wrist have to happen in some combination. Different people do it in different mannerisms or different manners, i.e., like hack motion and kind of how the different
Yeah,
release
the release
patterns.
styles. Yeah.
Yeah, release styles. But this one models what I would say is the predominant release style, which is
Mhm.
according to people at Hack Motion who say like, oh yeah, most of the pros still do this, which is the like the stable flexion extension and like and rotation. This it just if you don't, you the goal with it is to kind of swing it and have it not feel like it like whips the club around and like feels really wobbly. It should feel nice and smooth if the weight is tracking correctly. So it's really like immediate feedback of like, oh, that was all over the place, or like how can I move and let this thing swing so it just kind of naturally rolls itself over and releases in a a acceptable and normal rate of closure.
Yeah, the
So
best way that I can describe it is it like if you overpower the natural inertia of the club face, like you will know immediately.
yeah,
That
absolutely.
that like because it hangs perpendicular to the center of gravity of the club in a square position.
Hmm.
And so like if you deviate from that by manipulating your wrist conditions in a way that's not like optimal to keeping the club head square to
Yeah,
the arc. And that's one of the things that I really like about the gym is that like it takes into consideration the arc of the swing, right? It's not this straight back,
yeah,
straight through, straight up, straight down. It's like it's this arcing motion. So like if you deviate from that the yeah, like the natural way that the club wants to be, it's like that weight just throws you off, and you're like, "Well, that's not right."
yeah,
And so it's
yeah.
yeah, it's one of those things where it's immediate feedback. It's in the most important part of the swing, which is like the functional swings plane. It's coming into the impact position and coming right out of it.
Yeah,
It's one of those things where it's like, I mean, if all you did was hit these little like hip to hip chip swings with that thing all day, like it's
you'd
gonna
be great.
bleed into your full swing really, really nicely.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really like it. And there's a couple different ones. There's like I said, it's a system. There's a longer one, a shorter one, and then there's one that you stick like vertically. And you can hit balls with that one. The other two you're not supposed to, but which makes sense when you swing it. You would know.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's another good little like it packs up into a little pouch if you're gonna take all three of them. If not, it's just like one little, I don't know, 8-inch bar. It's super packable, super easy to stick in your bag and kind of use as a calibration before you're playing, or just something to work with on the range, and you're not carting like an entire extra bag of training aids, right? So that was another one that I'm not affiliated with, but I really like, and I think people would get a lot of benefit out of. The last one is kind of more of a, I guess, a category of training aids, but basically it's a rope like Dr. Kwan for like rope swings, or there's a guy that made one. It's called the Pro. I think his name's Dan Martin, and it's essentially the same thing. It's a golf grip with a rope and then like a little pillow thing on the end of it, um, which I kind of like because sometimes when you're doing rope swings, you whip yourself a little bit and it hurts
Or a lot of the
and
time.
yeah and it hurts and I don't want to do
And
that.
it hurts.
Um,
It stings, mom. Mom, it
yes.
stings.
Um, and there's other stuff out there that are kind of similar, but essentially it's a ball and an end of a rope, or just a rope, that's kind of heavy if you're a Dr. Quanner. Um,
Well, and I'll just jump in and
Mm.
say I made a Dr. Quan rope. I ordered dock line on Amazon,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
I can drop a link in the description. Actually, that's how I met Hoop,
Oh,
by
really?
the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd ordered the dock line, I'd made one, and I was swinging it on my stories, and he messaged me. He's like, dude, where can I get one of those? And I was like, what's your address? I'll just send one to you. I've got
Yeah.
like 50 feet of this shit. And he was like, oh, I'm just in the city redacted.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, shoot, man, let's just meet. And that's how we met.
That's cool.
And
Yeah.
then that's how actually that marine rope is one of the reasons that we played in that Wildwood Scramble and is probably one of the
Yep.
reasons this podcast even exists. So thank you to a marine made double braided nylon dock line, 9,500 pounds breaking strength, marine mooring rope, boat dock lines, working load limit, 1,900 pounds, parentheses white on
Mine's
Amazon.com.
mine's blue. Mine's
No, yeah, mine's white.
I left it over. It's over there. I didn't want to grab it.
Anywho, yeah.
Anyway, something like that, because much like a well, I take that back. I was gonna say much like something really heavy, it helps you swing correctly, but that's not true. Because you could swing a rope a lot of wrong ways. But what it does do is it can really help with, I don't know, sequence or
What?
kind of what I
Tell
know,
me more
or
about
like
this sequence.
maybe even like feeling connected. I don't know.
Oh,
So I like things that are kinda really geared towards, like, swinging the club. You know, there's this distinction between, like, swingers and hitters. I'm actually probably more of a hitter if I gave it much thought, but I like a lot of, like, the sensation of, like, being a swinger of the golf club, um,
yeah.
and really just kinda letting that club work out and around you and swinging past and takes or, like, putting in very little effort. Um, so I think swinging something that isn't rigid like a golf shaft does a lot of really good things for you as far as like sequence goes. I think it does a lot of really good things for you as far as like um, where you place effort in the swing. It reminds me a lot of we were talking to like Drew talking about how speed is like cracking a whip. Well, if you have a whip and you are trying to crack it or whip a towel kind of thing. If you are tense and rigid in the middle of that, it kind of ruins the whip, it ruins the motion. So that's essentially like if you are s- really like grabbing tightly and have really stiff wrists and like trying to put a lot of force into the golf club with your hands, that's like your hands and at the grip is essentially the middle of the whip there. And if you're doing a lot there and putting in a lot of effort there and a lot of tension there, you're messing up your whip.
You're not being the lug nut, is what we're
Yeah,
trying to
you're
say.
not being the lug nut.
No,
Look for merch
you've
in
moved
our
the lug
store.
nut. Yeah, you've moved the lug nut from yourself to your hand, which is a bad idea.
Right.
And the
Um,
rope won't let you do that.
The rope will not let you do that. It'll go all kinds of which way, and you'll whip yourself, and it will not feel good, and it hurts.
It hurts, mom. It
Yeah,
stings real bad.
it
Got a
stings real bad.
boo-boo.
So those were mine. I mean, my 3 that I had that were, I would say separate from our joint ones, and then also just other same putting aid things that you have.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, so
cool.
if you're looking to pick up something, one of
Check 'em out.
those would be great.
Yeah, you can't go wrong, and like Nathan said, like, these are not gimmicky, these are not we rag on Genghis a lot on this podcast. He seems like a really nice guy,
I would
but
love to have him on, honestly. It'd be
oh my
cool.
god,
It's
yeah.
super
I'm sure
cool.
he knows what he's talking about. But like and that's not to say that the things he teaches doesn't resonate with people. I just know for the both of us, like, we're not position guys. It just doesn't work for us. Like, our brains don't work that way. I cannot try to feel a certain position or feel like a very hyper specific thing in my left knee. Like, like whatever I'm doing needs to happen at a full swing kind of like mechanic, or
Yeah.
very close to it, or for me to make changes. And I know Nathan's similar. So like,
I'm just not Scooby, bro.
no, you're not Scooby, dude.
No,
You don't
not
got the
Scooby at
Gucci
all.
slides.
Nope.
And so like I feel comfortable like endorsing these products as something that will make you better because it's all pretty macro stuff.
Mhm.
Like if you improve things like sequencing, you're going to swing the club better. Like there, it's not like we're not making any sort of revelatory statements and saying that if your sequencing is better, you will swing the ball better. You will come into impact in a better position. You will square the face more efficiently. Like things are going to happen better. So that's why like we use all these things. And then obviously like short game stuff, it's like, hey, if you can distill putting down to start it on the right line, um,
Set up the
like
same every time.
set up the same way every single time. Like things, like over the span of a lot of rounds, things are going to happen well for you. So,
Yeah.
yeah, be sure to check all those out. I'll drop links and whatnot into the show notes. I will be sure to notate which ones would provide a commission, just so you know. Hey, just so you know, you can you can fully go and Google search them yourself if you don't want to kick us back any money. It won't impact the price that you pay, but it does help support what we're doing, which is awesome. So,
Mhm.
yeah, be sure to check those out. Be sure to follow along both of us on social media. We're on Instagram at Midam Podcast. You can find me personally at Fade and Farrow. You can find Nathan at nathan.firmasu and Thistle Leather Goods. We're both going to be documenting our off-season grinds. I'm actually starting outside of Instagram. I'm going to be doing a quick little teaser. I'm going to be doing a daily practice vlog on TikTok, because the daily posts seem to index
Do
better
well. Yeah.
on that app. And so, like every single day, I'm going to work on my game. I'm going to try to dedicate at least an hour to my game, be it, putting my 100 putts on the putt stick or going to the gym and lifting weights or whatever. And I'm just going to kind of like document what that looks like. Hey, here's what I'm doing every single day, with the ultimate goal of qualifying for the Oregon Mid-Am Championship in April of 2025. So I've got, roughly 5 months, 20-ish weeks. So check that out at Fade and Fairway on TikTok as well. But you're going to be seeing a lot of these training aids that we both have talked about. You'll see them. You'll see Nathan using them as well, because at the end of the day, we both just want to be better at golf. Like that is our number one priority. That's your number one goal, and
Mhm.
we're going to use tools. We're not going to shy away from any tool that we think that can help us reach those goals. So,
Yeah.
yeah, be sure to follow
And
along.
you won't see me on TikTok because I don't have one, but you will see me commenting and making fun of Tyler every day on his posts every day on TikTok or Instagram
So
or
sick.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
So
I
that'll
hope
be
so.
my goal.
He'll have one. He'll start a burner TikTok
I
account.
will make a TikTok just
Faithin
to roast you.
Nuramasu.
Yeah.
It'll be Faithin. Uh,
Fairway and fade.
Fairway and fade.
Yeah.
Rough and draw.
Rough and draw.
Uh, yeah, no, I mean, please do, man. It's everything we do. I do specifically is so goofy and cringy. But to be cringe is to be free.
Yeah.
I embrace it, and
Good. Good.
and then and this is really all just to get to the Creator Classic next year. I just want to go hang out at Myrtle Beach.
Absolutely.
That's really all I
Absolutely.
want to do, man. I just
Yeah.
want to go high five
I
the Bryan Bros, see how tall Micah Morris really is, and go
Is
play
he tall?
some. No,
I thought
I
Grant's the
think he's
tall one,
I
right?
think he's a small guy.
Micah's
Uh,
kind of short.
I think Micah's pretty short. But
He
like
hits it plenty far for
pound for
yeah.
pound, he's probably one of the longest hitters in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grant's pretty tall. That guy confuses me though. I can't tell if he's like really, really good at golf or like just really good at golf. It's like, should he be a tour pro or is he just like
No, I don't think so.
careers when or he just
Yeah.
like happens to play super well?
Yeah.
I don't think he fakes it. I just
No.
like some of the things he does. I'm just like, and you stop. You just decided competitive golf wasn't for you. You're just like this world
Yeah.
class talent. You're like, nah, not for me, dude. I'm gonna go play 15 minutes with Colin Morikawa on a TaylorMade media day. Oh well,
I don't know.
I'd do the
I'd
same
do it.
thing if
I'd
I
do
was
it.
that good. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that's about it. So yeah, be sure to follow along, dudes and dudettes and whoever. Dudettes, it's all men. It's all dudes. Come on, dudes, man. Yeah, be
Dudes,
sure,
this is a
bros.
podcast that your wife would totally love. You should have her check it out. It'd be great. No,
Don't do
we're
that.
shaking our heads. Don't
Yeah,
do
don't
that.
do that. That's a bad
No.
idea.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea, dude. Not this close to
Yeah.
Christmas.
If you're a
Uh,
dudette, reach out because we'll send you something.
please, oh my, yeah, please do. God, I would love to. I would love to know
Yeah.
if we're resonating with anyone that isn't, yeah, a caveman idiot man, which we are. I'm not saying
Yeah, I
I
mean,
am a caveman idiot man. So
yeah.
that's who we are.
Know your tribe, you know.
Yes. All right. Well, until next week, folks. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.